Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next Monday Un-Madness for February 16th. I'm Marissa Krupa, and we'll be talking about some concepts today to help you reclaim control of your career. It's really common for when women are at their mid-career point to get lost. And we'll talk about that. So, this program is all about helping you to work with the fear, not against it. And I'm just going to pause for a minute and make sure. Okay. There's always a delay on this restream deal. So, all right, let's carry on. So if you've never been here before, my name is Marissa Krupa, and I am an integrative leadership coach. I specialize in transitions for mid-career women. And the difference between me and other coaches is that I have a strong background in mindfulness and somatic practices. So I make sure that people are in their body, present and grounded, as a way to build a foundation for awareness and making positive choices for their career transition. We'll be using the mindfulness-based stress reduction technique developed by John Kabat-Zinn today. He did that in the 1970s. And so we'll be doing some movement and some journaling. So have a journal or diary or scratch paper, whatever, handy, because we'll be using that through the program. Alrighty, let's dive in. And so let's talk about this idea of being lost. Have you ever been at a company where they're like, it's not the so-and-so way? I'm just going to throw some names out there. It's not the Microsoft way. It's not the Amazon way, right? And I don't know about you, but in my last tech career position, I heard that a lot, actually. I moved up the chain a couple of spots. I was out of the sales building and into the administrative building. And so I had all different kind of tasks and things that I was doing. And I heard it a lot. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it was this kind of like stick in the mud mentality. And it's really a sign of an unhealthy and stagnant work environment. And so when companies talk about growth and wanting to expand and do different things, if people are using that phrase, they're not going to grow. And so it's easy also to get sucked into this mentality because you want to succeed. Maybe you want to move up the ladder. And you start to doubt yourself because you hear this all the time. It's like repeated exposure. And then also, it kind of encourages us to push our values aside, to push our drive aside. And it's challenging, but there is hope. So there is a way to maximize your choices and your career path, even in an environment like that. So let's explore some ideas on how to do that. So first of all, you always have choices, and this is a tough mentality to shift into when you're burnt out, but it's possible. And the techniques we're going to explore today will help you to achieve that. So I have several examples of how you can do this. One friend of mine was in a very, very toxic environment, and she ended up developing a skill set for SEO and back-end website development. She stayed in her job and she was miserable. She stayed in her job for 18 more months. That's what, a year and a half? Which, seems like a long time, but in the grand scheme of your life, it's actually not very long. She waited until she developed the skills, got certifications, but also had access to direct experience with clients. And then she built those relationships as best as she could. And then she launched into her own business. And within a few months, she was cooking. She had so many clients she didn't know what to do with. She had all these rave reviews on Fiverr and all this different stuff. And she's been successful ever since. And now working from home, raising her daughter, living the life that she's always dreamt. So It took 18 months, but because she was very strategic and she stepped out of the fear and into the empowerment, she was able to reclaim control of her career, and now she lives a great life, the life that she wants to live. There was another example from myself, where I worked for the state of Montana for like a blip, a heartbeat, right? And that particular department I did not know was incredibly toxic, and I had no idea. The job itself was actually a dream job for me, but my direct boss and several of the other people in the environment were incredibly difficult to work with. So there was a 6-month probationary period. I didn't last, right? They didn't carry me through that probationary period. Even so, I did everything I could to make really good friends, to make good connections. And I was able to gain a reference from someone at that position that led me to my next position, which really was my dream, and where I lasted for several years and had a fantastic experience. So even in the midst of the crud, you can take direct steps to reclaim your career and to suck the marrow from the bone, even though it's a nasty environment. So let's go on from here. I love this quote because it's hard for me, and I hope it's hard for you too. Now, I don't hope, but it may be hard for you too, because it really places the responsibility for our own experiences on ourselves. And that's not always easy to see. It's easy to blame, it's easy to point the finger, right? But it's not easy to take those other 3 fingers and take a look at ourselves. And that's why you have a coach, right? This is why people hire me, is so that they can get that insight and that help to see themselves in ways that maybe they are not able to do on their own. So let's practice the idea of choice by getting into some movement. And we're going to use our bodies and our breath. And we can begin to shift our mindset by getting into our body. It helps us kind of get out of the burnout mindset and starts to open ourselves up to possibility, to shifting into a new mindset, one of choice. So in our movement segment today, I'll be cueing you a little bit more on different choices that you can make in the course of our movement. So I'd like to invite you to notice those choices that you are making, or maybe the choices you're not making around our movement today. You don't need to change anything, and there's no judgment, there's no criticism or labeling that needs to happen. Just notice what you're choosing, or not choosing. So first, before we start, let's do our 1 to 10 check-in. 1 is miserable, like you're super unhappy. 10 is fabulous. So in this moment of now, if you just pause, take a breath, including all areas of your life, what's your number in this moment? You can just remember it or write it down if you're an old lady like me, and then we will get started. So let me click this off. And the first thing I would like to invite you to do, now this is something that you can do either sitting or standing. So you can either sit, and I have a kind of a rotating stool, so I can do this with the stool, or you can stand. It's your choice. And what we're going to do is what I call grandfather's coat. Let me make sure I've got the camera here in a good spot. And so we're just going to open up the spine by doing gentle rotation side to side, keeping your arms slack. Breathing your normal breath. Awesome. So again, if you have stood up, you can go back to your seat or you can remain standing, totally your choice. Now, if you don't want to move your arms in this moment, what you can do is place one hand just below your belly button and the other hand on your heart. So that's another option or choice for you. Or you can use the arm movements. We're going to do some big belly breaths now. We're going to use our arms. So exhaling everything out of your lungs. As you inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Bring your palms together, and then as you exhale, press your palms away from you. If this doesn't feel comfortable, then you can leave your palms forward or just neutral. Whatever you choose is okay. Inhaling the arms up one more time. Exhale, choose your arm position, your hand position. Take your arms all the way down. Last one. And exhale out. Great job, everybody. So now we're going to go into a chair sequence that kind of engages the core. And again, there's a lot of choices here. So if you want to sit for this one, then keep your backside right at the edge of your chair or your stool so that you've got a nice long spine, okay? Or you can choose to do this standing as well. So I'll show you kind of the side position here. Feet are hip distance apart. Inhale your arms up, palms facing each other. Arms are at shoulder distance. Exhale, sit into chair pose. So we're focusing on taking our backside away from the rest of our torso. Knees are bent and really pressing on both the ball and the heel of our foot. Now you can stay and pull your belly in and up towards your spine. You can stay here for the rest of the time. Come out if you need a break. If you care to, again, it's your choice. You can inhale from here and exhale, take your arms to cactus. We can do this 2 more times. Inhale, arms straight. Exhale the cactus. Starting to feel one more time. Inhale. Exhale the cactus, starting to really feel the heat in our body. Now again, you can stay here in cactus, you can keep your arms long, you can come out if you're feeling tired. If you care to continue, inhale with your arms straight, exhale, tilt your torso, keeping your arms by your ears until your fingertips touch the ground. And now inhale all the way back up, really engaging the hamstrings, the glutes, and your core. Let's do this 2 more times, or you can pause and stop here. Inhale with arms up. Exhale, tilt the torso down. And inhale, bring it back up. Last one, or stop if you care to. Inhaling here. Exhale, tilt down. Inhale, back up to chair. And now take your exhale. Inhale to standing. Exhale, arms at your sides. Whew. That one really gets people going, gets me going for sure. It's a little more intense than you think it's going to be. All right. So now that we've gotten into our bodies, let go of how our Monday has gone so far. Hopefully it's been wonderful, especially after coming off of the Valentine's Day weekend. Let's go back to do some writing. So let's see now. Okay. So let's do some reflection and some writing. Think back to your last couple of performance reviews. So not just the last one, but a few, maybe the last, if they happen twice a year, maybe the last 2 years. And write down, what are you consistently praised for? You can also write down, like, what has been your biggest gain? So a skill gain or a project completion gain that you were praised for. So either one of those will work. And then out of these things that you have been praised for, or your biggest gain, reflect on which of these qualities feels natural to you. So here's an example from my own life. I used to work with software partners in a partner program. And one of the things I was consistently praised for was the positive relationships that I built with those partner companies to result in really good things. So like, the first bundled software offering that the company made with another vendor, right? So it was our software product and their software product bundled together and being sold to customers. That had never happened in the history of the company before. And so the qualities that I would list for that were that I was really great at building relationships. I was really great at communication. And I was really great at putting together like deals that were considered fair for everyone involved. So there was like a fairness piece to it. And those would be three qualities that I would write down for this question. So that just came naturally to me. Like I never really got training for that or coaching on that. It's just something that I naturally could do, and I did, and I was rewarded for that. So that's the kind of thing that I'm saying about what feels natural to you. So once you have those down, now think about other roles or careers that would utilize these natural strengths and write them down. Just pick 3 so that it's not overwhelming. And you don't have to be 100% certain that this new role or career would use these skills, but just use your best guess. Okay, so the next part of our reflection and writing is going to be beginning our plan. So one of the things that hinders mid-career women, and hey, like we've got families, we've got a job, we've got this, we've got that. Like once you get to a certain age, like you're kind of overloaded. You know what I mean? Like just breathing every day is like a giant accomplishment. So, and then if you're in burnout, any kind of planning feels like a burden. If you're feeling disempowered from your career, any kind of planning feels like a waste of time because you're like, I don't have time for this, right? And planning is actually like such an incredible tool. It is so huge. I use it all the time for my own life. Like I'm about to take a ski trip, and so I'm going to be planning out like what I need to bring, and then planning out a little bit, just a glance of what the days are going to look like. So then I have an idea, right? There's so many positive benefits to planning, and it doesn't have to be lengthy. It doesn't have to be like full tilt. It can just be simple and easy and short and sweet. And that's what we're going to do today. So the first part of your plan is to pick one of those 3 careers that you wrote down in a list that you just made. Maybe you pick the one that resonates the most to you, or that you're the most curious about, or maybe it's the one that you know the least about, or maybe it's the one you know the most about. So again, this is your choice, but pick one. And now the next step would be to research this role or career. Well, how are you going to conduct your research? This is the planning part. Now list out 3 ways in which you can do research. And there's all different ways that you can do this. I'm a big fan of informational interviews. So you may interview somebody at your company who's already in this role and ask them about it. Maybe you go to an association associated with this role and you ask them and you do research from there. There's a lot of different ways to do research. So just pick 3 ways that are easy and doable where you can start to do some research about this role, okay? Based on this research, let's see now. Oh, alumni group is another one that I had listed. So based on the research, and you don't know this yet, so you're just going to guess, okay? Build out a timeline for entering this new career or role. And this piece is going to be changeable. So you're going to put your best guess down today. And then when we go to some more information, you'll be able to revise and adjust what that timeline is going to be. Now, here's what's really important about this. When we are vague about our goals or our time and that sort of thing, and we don't have any kind of plan set up, everything feels overwhelming and scary. And this is a big part of the mental burnout that we start to experience, okay? So we need to start breaking through the vagueness by gaining clarity. And I hate to use that word because it's such a like cheese ball woo woo word that everybody uses right now. But seriously, like clearness, like having clear ideas of where you're going to go next is one of the number one ways to start busting through burnout and really reclaiming your career. So that's what we're doing with this planning phase. So now we're not done with our planning yet. And what did this take? Just a couple minutes? So now let's chunk our plan. So the word chunk I get from my education background because we used to chunk knowledge or information for students. What chunking means is breaking something down into smaller pieces. And in this case, it's going to be smaller, more doable pieces. So chunking the first part of your plan, the research, into 3 actions that you can take, and you can decide, okay, am I going to do 3 actions this week? Maybe that's too much. That's okay. Then pick 1 action to do this week. And so it's important to also give yourself permission to go slow, because if you're in the middle part of your career, odds are pretty good. People are pressuring you to go fast, 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 fast all the time. And so it's easy to then take that environment and start to do that to ourselves. So if all you can do is 1 thing this week, 1 action towards the research for your 1 career, that is way cool. And give yourself permission to be that slow. Because if you think about it, transitioning a career is a big deal. So take the time you need to provide yourself with the information you really need to make a choice that's going to work for you with your natural skills. And then for the next 2 weeks now, write down what's going to be your action. It could be 1 action, but no more than 3, again, because we don't want to overwhelm. We don't want to contribute to the burnout that's already there. And then there's also something really important psychologically about making a promise to yourself and then fulfilling it. So if you start to stack in all these actions through the week, because most mid-career women are overachievers like me, I'm a card-carrying overachiever. If you stack too many things and you don't complete them, what happens? Well, you start to get down on yourself. And that's again where the burnout kicks in. So block out time in your schedule to do your 1 or up to 3, no more than 3 actions. And again, like we've talked about in other sessions, make that time sacrosanct. Do not allow anything else to interfere with that time where you are taking those actions. And then now, after 3 weeks, so just 3 weeks of action, that's it. You're going to pause and assess and adjust if needed. If you've done research for 3 weeks in a row on a particular role, then by now you will have an idea of like, do I really want to continue to pursue this, or I don't think this is for me? And so you get to stop and adjust and decide, okay, what is it that I really want to do? What is the best role for me? And if it is this particular one that you've researched, then great. And continue on with it, continue taking actions, and then build out your next 3 weeks. And so all you're doing is 3 weeks at a time. Again, it's a way to not overwhelm yourself and to give yourself an out, right? If you need to pause for a week, that's okay. Well, all you're doing is 3 weeks at a time. This chunking makes things more manageable. Oh, I'm missing a slide. I don't know what happened there. Wait, or maybe I skipped one. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now let's wrap up a little bit and just reflect. You can either write this or you don't have to, on your feelings and thoughts about choice and on reclaiming your career. So I've taken you through like 15 minutes worth of stuff. And, that's all it takes, really. It's not like this is gigantic rocket science. And also, this is how you move the needle. And so fear is really wrapped up into lack of detail, lack of information. Reclaiming your career means getting clear, getting into details, getting into actionable details, right? learning more information, gathering information. When you've gathered information, then the fear goes away. It's like if there's no place for it anymore because you've got details, right? So that's a huge part of this. So reflect a little bit on your feelings and thoughts now after we've done these exercises. And now let's do our 1 to 10 scale. So think about your number from the very beginning. And now take a breath, pause, ask yourself, how do I feel now? Am I still super miserable at 1, or have I moved closer to fabulous at 10? My hope is that your number is higher than where we started. Okay, now we're into the thank yous. So you can reach me at ennobleleadership.com to learn more. You can also connect with me at the Svoboda community and also on the Ennoble Leadership LinkedIn page as well. And then, of course, you can always direct message me if you have any questions about this, if you would like to learn more about how I can support you through your transition and all of that sort of thing. So those are all the different ways to reach out to me. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you found value in this session. And I wish you a very much unmad rest of your week. And we'll be meeting again on March 2nd. Is this year flying by or what? Holy cats and dogs. Like it is just flying by. So I look forward to meeting you for our next topic. Thank you again for joining me and just wishing you lots of peace, joy, and abundance this week. Take care now. Bye.